Surprise, right? It's Thursday. Welcome to the East West Football Network. We have our mock draft. Remember, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And today we have, of course, we have Walter Stringer, Ned Lennon, and then we have Robert Brown. He's actually a part of the scouting team. So Robert Brown is going to go ahead and give us his picks 17 through 32. Now this is where the draft gets a little bit tricky because come Saturday and Sunday after these playoff games, we could see some teams kind of really change up. So I we really thank you so much for tuning in and just showing us love and support, but come next week, we're going to start changing it around. And once we get these other picks locked in, we're going to continue to do this every Tuesday, Thursdays. And if we have to change the date, we'll give you an update. So, real quick, hey, Rob, introduce yourself to our crowd.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Robert Brown here, back again, repping Miami. Got my Bears in the back. Hope everybody's doing good. Happy New Year, man.
Sweet, man.
New
So,
Year.
so of course, a lot can change, but we're having fun right now as the way the draft. Right now, the draft is set with the first 18 picks. Am I correct, Ned?
Absolutely. So 1 through 18 are locked, and we're going to have another 6 teams joining us in that point as of Monday.
And I'll let you make the announcement of who they should expect next Tuesday and Thursday as well at the end of this one, and of the little twist to the show that we will have. So definitely, if you love hearing who your team should be picking, you've come to the right place. And thank you. So let's not beat around the bush anymore. Let's get straight into it. Picking 17, the Las Vegas Raiders, right? And I think on the last one we had fun, right? I said it was Fidel's Raiders, and I said, well, wait, no, it's Terrion's Raiders, and I said, oh wait, it's SK's Raiders, and then I was like, oh wait, it's man, we have so many Raider fans on this East West Football Network. But so tell me, what should the Las Vegas Raiders do at pick 17 in your mock draft?
Well, at pick 17, I got Jalen Phillips from Miami, edge rusher. He dominated really this season. I think we saw a lot of his athleticism on tape if you ever turned it on. And he was a high prospect a couple of years ago, battled a couple of injury issues, but I think he's going to be playing at a high level in the NFL. Needs a couple more hand moves, but he's going to be solid.
Now, real quick, so I think that we tried doing this earlier, and so some people may not be familiar with Jalen Phillips. I believe he was brought up in the last draft, but we didn't get to hear Walt's comparison for him. Well, can you just explain this prospect or give us a player comp in the NFL, maybe that so our audience can get familiarized with this Miami, right? The U product.
Sure. Jalen's a big kid. He has that prototypical size. He's got the arm length. He's got the hand work. He can use a little more, well, at least a few more moves. Personally, I compare him to Cliff Averill. He's a little bigger than Averill, what Averill was, but him and Averill have that same type of violent hand work and that consistent motor.
Awesome. Ned, did you want to throw anything about it? Maybe your own player comp?
Yeah, Jalen Phillips to me actually reminds me a lot of an old 49er and Chicago Bear, actually, in Aaron Lynch. He's a guy who came out with a lot of aggression, a lot of violence, a lot of similar size, that, kind of long arms and that raw prospect ability. For me, he has a lot more upside than Aaron Lynch had, and so that's why I think he's joined a lot of in that first and second round.
So, and real quick, I mean, because I know that people probably want to get to the next pick in a hurry, but the knock with him is that he was highly recruited. He committed to UCLA. He really didn't do much, and then he transferred to Miami. And this year, he's just been playing lights out in a COVID season, right? So, I think he would. I think that he really, if you want to give him props, I mean, he stepped in for Gregory Russo, right? Who's projected to be right now. I mean, from other mock drafts that we've seen him going at least in the top 10. But Jalen Phillips has done a phenomenal job this season. So we'll see if the Raiders get it. They need it because it looks like the Raiders need help on the defensive inside and defensive tackle. So let's get right into it. Right now, you're repping the Miami Dolphins cap. They're picking 18th right now. What can, or let's hear what you have on your mock draft.
I got Jeremiah Owosu Karamoa, Notre Dame linebacker. This guy, well, he might be safety in the NFL. We'll see how it goes. But he's kind of that hybrid player, kind of like Isaiah Simmons was. And to me, when I watch him on tape, I liked Simmons always, but in coverage, he was a little bit questionable. I think this guy can cover. He can cover all over the field. Miami wants to run a versatile defense, and he's perfect fit.
Yeah, I don't know why Walter doesn't really like this prospect, but yeah, he's. I'm kidding with you, Walt. No, yeah, he's I think he's a good fit, and like you said, the interesting part about him is he played linebacker, but I think that safety is where he's going to probably excel. So we'll see, especially now that I don't know, almost all of the NFL's in nickel, right? Which means five. What is it? 5 defensive backs. So let's move along. We have the Washington football team picking 19th. Who do you have them selecting?
I got Jamar Chase, LSU.
Whoa!
A lot of people probably got this guy a little bit higher. Maybe some people even got him a little bit lower. Nobody knows really what to expect from him, I'd say, but they think he's been preparing for the draft. He's expected to be a good prospect next to Terry McLaurin. If he's available, I don't see why Washington should pass.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? I mean, this one, I got to get you guys' take on it. Do you think Jamar Chase can fall this low in the draft?
Yeah, I mean,
possible if he doesn't run fast. You know, everybody gets so caught up in the combine during that time as far as 40 times, cones, vertical leaps. But and another thing I think is going to hurt him is his lack of blocking. You know, once you get to the NFL, rookie wide receivers struggle seeing the field a lot in the first place. So if you can't block, that really can be another black mark on him. That and the fact that he's not really an elite athlete.
I don't know, Ned. What do you think, man? This guy put up some historical numbers his last year at LSU.
Yeah, it all depends on the system that he comes into. You know, if you go into a really run-heavy scheme, yeah, I mean, he's going to really have to make a steep learning curve at that point. Coming into somewhere like Washington, it's going to really come down to, I guess, who's running a quarterback next season, which obviously is, you know, where I think a lot of people have this pick going. But, man, if he's there and that's the guy that they want to bring in, across Terry McLaurin, that's going to be a deadly duo.
Okay, all right. Man, you're a brave man, Robert. Let's go ahead and move along. I think this is your team right here, right? The Chicago Bears, right?
Yep, this is the hometown team. Rep them every day.
Real quick, just say a little bit about them real quick before you announce your pick.
Well, the Bears, I haven't agreed with a lot of the recent moves they've made, but we made it into the playoffs, so I'm not one of those teams sitting at home like my friend Ned here, like my friend Walt here. And sorry to throw you guys under the bus, but at least my guys made it.
Don't leave Jerry out, man. The Cowboys.
Hey, man, look, I'll tell you this much right now. I love me some Dak Prescott over Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles any day of the week. And I'll tell you this, you guys winning or getting into the playoffs was the worst thing that the Chicago Bears could have done. I'm sorry. I know you should never want to root for your team to lose, but you're just buying time for Bill Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky to stay around. But
for sure. I was upset, but you know what? Once we got to the end of the season as a football fan, you have to be like, okay, at least my team got in.
Yeah.
Maybe some sort of Mitchell Trubisky Cinderella story comeback. Bears versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Beat Mahomes.
You never know. You never know.
Race. Everybody said gone.
You never know. I think that they are right now. They are they could be one of those sleeper sneaky teams that can maybe win this week and move along and put some pressure on some teams. We never know, right? I mean, we've seen crazier things in the NFL. So let's go ahead and move along. We have Jacksonville Jaguars picking 21st. Who are they picking? They already got Trevor. They already got Trevor.
Real quick, just to announce my Bears pick, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh man, my bad. I don't want to rush hour.
Guy here.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're probably gonna lose A-Rob. So as much as that sucks as a Bears fan, I think St. Brown, he's good at those contested catches. We got Anthony Miller, who's kind of already working in the slot. Hopefully, we can get a little bit of offensive firepower. Maybe figure something out next season.
So look, he's an interesting prospect. He's from USC. So Walt, Ned, go ahead, Ned, if you can, explain what you see when you've studied his game tape.
Yeah, hey man. I mean, Rob, I know this is your boy too. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been talking about him as the number one, guy for a while. And so, yeah, when you watch this, he's got great speed, vertical speed. He can really stretch the field. He's got great, as you said, contested catch. He's a guy who can really high point the ball and come down with it. We've seen a few mistakes from him, but I think that his drops this year have gotten, at least in the games that I've seen, have gotten better. He came in clutch down in the fourth quarter in a few games as well, which is really what you want to see. I like him, man. I think he could be an absolute weapon for these guys if he can get an accurate ball thrown his way, Mitch. But, I think he would be a good, suitable replacement for A-Rob if they can't bring him back.
Give me a player comp. Well,
I actually didn't have a player comp for him. I told you. I'm pretty sure.
I do.
Ned has it. But personally, I like him as a player. I'm not sure how high everybody is on him right now, considering a lot of the other receivers that's going on that are kind of scheduled to go ahead of him right now. I think he's a lot of what they already have right now. They took Mooney, Darnell Mooney last year. He's turned out to be a pretty solid pick. As Robert mentioned, they're probably going to lose Allen Robinson, but I personally had them taking Rashad Bateman. I thought Rashad Bateman was more of what they probably needed moving forward, but I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, the player, though.
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty sure we lost a lot of Bear fans there. They were probably hoping for a quarterback, right? I don't know how you would feel about maybe landing whatever quarterback was left on your mock draft. Remember, if you want to see an entire mock draft, go to eastwestfootballnetwork.com. But to me, what I saw a lot of juju in his game. So I don't know if that's just the USC wide receiver corps, a corpse that they push out every year. But that's kind of who I see in his game a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of people comp him to Keenan Allen as well. So
I like that.
As far as a ceiling, if he can make Keenan Allen levels, then you got a winner and a first round pick right there.
Yeah, they struck gold, especially with Keenan Allen and third overall. So let's go ahead and now we can skip ahead, right? We have picking 21st, the Jacksonville Jaguars. We already know they locked in Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he declared already for the draft, so it's official. They got the first pick. They're not gonna trade this pick away. They're not gonna trade Trevor Lawrence pick away. They're gonna draft him.
Yeah, for sure. For the 21st pick, the Jaguars, I got Samuel Cosmi from Texas, offensive tackle. I think if you go check out my mock draft on eastwestfootballnetwork.com, you'll see I got Trevor Lawrence going first to the Jags. I think everybody thinks that that's a locked pick this year. Get him some protection, keep him clean. Everybody's only worried about his frame, I would say, as far as transition to the NFL. So I say keep him as clean as possible his first years.
Hey, you can never have too much protection for your quarterback. So let's move along. We have picking right now, the 22 is the Indianapolis Colts.
For the Colts at 22, I got Mac Jones, Alabama.
Wow.
So I think the Colts are going to sign Rivers to a one-year contract again. And so I kind of made this pick a little bit based on that. I think Mac Jones shows a lot of similarities to what Rivers has done. And so I think that he could learn from him a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I hope I don't sound too harsh here, but I'm not Ah, man, I'm sorry, Colts guys. I'm sorry, everybody, but I just when I look at Mac Jones, I don't see the first round talent there. But I mean, quarterback is a big pressing need. You gotta lock it up for the future. I'm pretty sure with that offensive line, he can actually excel and prove me wrong. Right? I think that there's been quarterbacks in the past that have proven this wrong. So picking 23rd, we got the Cleveland Browns.
I got Nick Bolton, Missouri linebacker. The Browns have struggled really ever since they had lost Joe Schobert, and so they kind of need somebody to plug back into that middle linebacker position to kind of run the defense. And I think this kid could do it.
Nice. I actually like his game a lot. Does anybody want to give a player comp? I mean, I don't know how much people get to see Mizzou play.
Yeah, I mean,
I personally had Vontez Burfict, a
Mm.
way better, cleaner version of Vontez Burfict. But yeah, I love Nick Bolton. Me and Jerry have been discussing Nick Bolton probably going back to July, August,
Yep.
yeah, around that time. Um, Nick is a hell of a kid, great story, very fast football player, very violent football player, always around the football. From
Interception.
everything I hear from everyone at Mizzou, he's a great leader, great kid. I had him pretty much as the first, the second linebacker actually off the board behind Michael Parsons.
I mean I like this prospect a lot. Ned, did you want to chime in on him real quick?
yeah, I mean, Nick Bolton's a guy who has risen a lot this year. He's really proven that he's got that kind of pro-ready build, that pro-ready play, ability to drop back in coverage, come up, make plays, and really lead a defense. Which, honestly, I've even heard whispers of people talking about a Devin Bush kind of style of player comp, which
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on that. But, I mean, again, if it's the kind of guy that you can get in and even plug to a similar level to what Devin Bush was in his first year, I think that would be a big addition to that Browns defense.
And the thing with him is that he's only I think 6 foot, right? So that's why, I mean, when you look at a linebacker, you always want your linebackers to be these 6'3" guys, right? So that's where the comp for Devin Bush comes into play, even though Devin Bush is like 5'10". But nothing wrong with 5'10s, right?
Wait, now I want to clarify one thing.
Well,
He's
say that
not
again?
He's not Vontez. He's not the Vontez we know.
Yes.
I'm saying Vontez Burfict in the case of the violent, aggressive, constant, high motor football player. The
Yeah.
good Vontez Burfict that people like, not the
Yeah.
other Vontez Burfict.
Yeah.
And he's not dirty either at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he plays clean football, but like you said, Jesse plays it fast and he's very exciting. So moving along, picking 24th, the Tennessee Titans.
All right, for the Titans, I got Jalen Waddle, Alabama, wide receiver.
Wow.
I think the Titans do have other needs that they're probably going to need to address, but I think they'll snag a couple of veterans and try to make it work with that. I think adding Waddle with A.J. Brown, both of them can play in the slot, but Waddle's kind of that smaller, quicker route running guy, and that gives a chance for A.J. Brown to see more single coverage.
Wow. Do you think Waddle will fall, Ned?
There's every possibility, man. Like, it's just one of those guys that how healthy is he going to come back? I think the scouting combine is going to be really important for teams to get their own medical staff in and really evaluate where he is at with it and what kind of possibility he is. I've heard that he wanted to play this weekend in the national championship game. So if he's ready to go and he's ready to run routes and do everything like that at the pro day and show people that he's back, then I don't think he falls this far. But, I mean, Titans would be lucky.
What do you think? What do you think, Walter? I mean, because like they play this Monday, this upcoming Monday. Is he playing?
I hope not. I would prefer for him to just play it cool, hold off, get himself together, get ready for the combine. I think once he's healthy, if he's ready to go combine and everything is good, he could still probably wind up going somewhere between anywhere in the top 10 to maybe the top 15, 16 picks. Very, very explosive player. Before he got hurt, I think he was pretty much on pace to probably being the number one receiver off the board in the draft. So I have no problems with it at all.
It's all good. We got Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was Tampa Bay, right? Earlier. But it's Tampa Bay right now. They're picking 25th. Of course, a lot of things can change, but who are they picking?
I got Travis Etienne, Clemson running back. It's my first running back off the board. You see, guys kind of always reaching that late round for a running back, and I think Tom needs somebody who can not be just so one-dimensional, which is kind of what they have in the backfield right now in Tampa Bay. You saw that, and when he was with the Patriots, they had a multitude of running backs, all that provided different things. And so I think that they're going to add this to take this offense to the next level.
There's not much we can say. I mean, that we had to say about Travis Etienne. I mean, he's a stud. He plays great ball. Picking next, we have the Baltimore Ravens picking 26.
So for the Ravens, I got Wyatt Davis, Ohio State.
Okay.
Offensive guard. I think ever since they lost Marshall Yanda, they're still kind of trying to bounce back from filling ever since he retired, filling that spot. And so I think they're going to do that with this guy from Ohio State. He showed great consistency all throughout, short season, but nonetheless the season. And I think he's going to be good for them.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just go. That was a good pick, actually. I think that the Ravens do need to revamp that offensive line, and it does start. They need to start. They can start with the offensive guard. We got at picking 27 the New York Jets.
For the Jets, Jets fans, I got you. Trey Lance, North Dakota State quarterback. Let's get the Jets a quarterback, I guess. See how it goes. Take a shot on the young guy. Everybody know what he did last year, and so I think he's going to still go in the first round.
Yeah, I like his game. Does anybody have a player come from that they want to share?
Yeah, and I might also just provide context for the guys who haven't seen Rob's draft yet. They've went Penei Sewell with the number 2 overall pick, so picking up that number 1 tackle position early and then address quarterback later in that first round. For me, Trey Lance is kind of a little bit of a hybrid cross between a slightly more complete version of Kaepernick. He's got that explosive running ability, those long strides, some deceptively fast guy when he gets out in space too, but he's a more accomplished step-back passer, which kind of leads me to a little bit of a Tannehill as well, that Ryan Tannehill, where he's got that dynamic ability to make a quick pass, make an accurate pass, but also take off with his legs if it's not there.
Nice. What about you, Walt?
I was kind of closer to the comparison you initially had, which was Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I think Trey has a little bigger arm than what Dak has.
Oh yeah.
And I also believe he can complete balls down the field outside the numbers better than people give him credit for. He can make those 50, 60, 70-yard throws downfield. They just didn't really ask him to do it that much in that system in North Dakota State. Everything was so quick out of his hands. That's why his completion percentage was so high. And, he had pretty much what they did, they sheltered him. But I do believe he has the physical skill set to really get things going at the next level.
So I guess Ned kind of gave us a spoiler there, right? So picking second, the Jets, they got Penei Sewell, and now with the second pick they got from Jamal Adams, right, via the Seahawks. Yep. They were able to pick up their quarterback of the future, right? But I think the interesting storyline, if this was to happen, what do you do with Sam Darnold? It's a great question, man. So I'll let that simmer there for a while. But let's go ahead and move along. We got Pittsburgh picking 28th.
Yep, for the Steelers, they go Azeez Ojulari, Georgia, edge rusher. This guy is explosive in pass rush. He's not great against the run, but I think with the Steelers defense, they got so many defenders that are great against the run in the secondary and of the defensive line that he'll kind of fill in perfectly for Bud Dupree, unless they do choose to franchise tag or come up with some sort of deal for him. But I don't foresee that personally coming off an injury. it's just going to be tough to get a deal.
All right, man. Let's move it along. 29. We got the Who Dat, right? The Who Dat Nation. We got the Saints. Who do they pick?
So I got the Saints going with Shaun Wade, Ohio State cornerback. I like Wade's game. He's shown flashes of being able to be very good, very great, but he's also shown some inconsistencies in his game. He will have to face a lot of high talented receivers in this division, so it is a little bit risky for the Saints to take somebody like that. But I think he will pair well with Marshawn Lattimore just because that size on the outside. I think they can make it work with the scheme.
Yeah, real quick on this one, Robert. This is actually a very interesting pick because I think that we had all agreed at once that Shaun Wade had never moved to the outside, and he should have stayed at the slot. But when you look at the Steelers, they had a similar pick, and this is where it gets interesting. That pick was Malcolm Jenkins, right? And look at what Malcolm Jenkins has become. He's an all-pro safety, and I think that with Shaun Wade, if it doesn't work at corner, you could definitely stick him at safety. He has the size, and he has all the measurables. So, I mean, it's not a bad pick, but definitely you can start him off in the slot and then move him up to safety. But let's go ahead and move along. I mean, we got Bills Mafia. They're in the house, man, the Bills. So picking right now, 30th is the Bills.
Yeah, at 30, I got the Bills taking Liam Eichenberg, Notre Dame offensive tackle. I think the Bills kind of at 30 are going to have that pick. Well, if they get 30, depending on how the playoffs go for them, I think they'll have that pick where it's like we can take the best guy available for us, not have to necessarily reach for like a positional need. So I think they just get Josh Allen some more protection, gives him more chances to roll out the pocket and better chances to do more Josh Allen crazy things like we've seen him do this year.
And I said it earlier. I mean, you cannot get too much help right for the quarterback. Do you guys have a player comp? I mean, Notre Dame has pumped out some good offensive linemen. We've seen them in Quentin Nelson and Zach Martin. Walt, do you have anything to say about Ian? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I like him as a prospect. I think he compares a lot to another former Notre Dame offensive lineman, which was Mike McGlinchey. It's funny to me because I'm not sure. I'm not really high on tackles at least guys I don't really believe can play left tackle at the next level. I'm not sure if he's athletic. I really think he's gonna end up being a right tackle. You know, he's a good player, and I think that's another reason why he slipped down on a lot of draft boards lately. And we've seen guys like Elijah Vera Tucker skyrocket because Elijah was a guy who was great at guard last year and was great at tackle this year. And that's a big reason why he shot up. Rashawn Slater has shot up. And guys like Liam are kind of, we know how the NFL is. Everybody cares about the left tackle. That's all everybody cares about. Can he play left tackle? Can he play left tackle?
Yeah.
At the next level. I'm not sure if he's athletic.
Well, we've seen what they've done with the left tackles that can't play left tackle. They either put them at guard or put them at right tackle. So we got.
Well, Ned, I mean, sorry about that, but raising that question, how do you feel about Mike McGlinchey?
Well, actually, it's funny, Walt, because the guy I compared him to was Mike McGlinchey as well. He's very reminiscent of McGlinchey. The difference being is we had Joe Staley, so we drafted him going, we need a right tackle, and we need a guy who can run in that zone running scheme. And as Mike McGlinchey has proven, his pass protection is just not up to par. His running game he started pretty good in his first, second half of his first season and the start of his second season. And since then, he just hasn't gotten better. In fact, it's probably gotten a little bit worse. And so now we're at a position, at least with 49ers, where we now need to reassess that right tackle position as well. So that for me, Liam, he's probably a guy who might be available in the second round that I would understand jumping on and being like, hey, that's a guy you can plug and play at right tackle, no problem. But yeah, I think he has the same problems coming out that McClinchy, had the same concerns, and I feel like he may end up down the same path.
Real quick, before we get into the last two picks of the first round, I mean, you're absolutely right, Ned. I think that it just depends on the actual trend of the actual draft. So once we start seeing a run in a certain position group, you know, at this pick, if there's no more offensive tackles, if you're picking this late and you need an offensive tackle, unfortunately, you're gonna have to draft them a little earlier, even though you have somebody highly rated. Uh, so I mean, but there is other teams that just stick to the board, right, and stay true and take the best available prospect. But if you need a tackle, you got to get them now. So picking 31st, the Green Bay Packers. I hope there's some Packers Nation out there that's tuning in. Who do you got them picking?
I got Zaven Collins, Tulsa linebacker. The Packers, obviously this year, great team. The only struggle I really saw when watching their games was in that kind of middle next level position. Linebacker, they're not too great, so I think they could use some work there.
Man, I'm gonna say this. This guy's an absolute stud. Do Ned or Walt? I mean, Walt, you can go first. Do you have a player comp for this guy?
You can go ahead, Ned.
All right, Ned, go for it. Take it away.
Yeah, Zaven Collins is a weird one. So I haven't gotten a lot of Tulsa games, and I've been trying to catch up on the hype that's really driven him up from pretty much nowhere to a first round pick, and even in some places a top 15 pick. From what I've seen so far, he reminds me a little bit of Marcus Golden coming out. So a guy who can play, back in coverage and also, rush the passer. He's not as polished as I probably like, but I do like him at the end of the first round for somewhere like Green Bay, who needs a guy who can play that, that Mike linebacker position, who can come up, make tackles, drop in coverage, or rush the passer on him like blitz, anything like that. For me, I think his run game this year has still been a little bit to desire. It's been overshadowed by some of these big, beautiful plays where he sheds one blocker and hits the guy in the backfield. Everybody loves those highlights, but at the end of the day, most linebackers are expected to do that. So, yeah, for me, he's kind of a Marcus Golden. I think his ceiling is somewhere around a Jamie Collins, a guy who could really be flipped into maybe an outside linebacker position and really just set on rushing the passer and the occasional, tight end cover.
Well, to me, I always saw a guy that was around the ball. So, I mean, that's what you want to see in your linebacker, right?
I had Raekwon McMillan. I saw a guy who, when Raekwon McMillan was coming out of Ohio State, he pretty much checked all the boxes. Raekwon just couldn't really stay healthy that much. Hasn't stayed healthy too much in the league either. But he's a guy who gets downfield in a hurry. He can, like, same thing Ned said, he can drop back. He can cover sideline to sideline. Nothing really special, but he's going to cover all the boxes for you. He's a guy that I believe somebody's going to be very, very happy with him. Very happy.
I know I would be happy with him. I think that a lot of people are projecting him as a 3-4 outside linebacker, just so people that are not too familiar with him. Picking 32nd, back-to-back Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. So on this one, I guess we're gonna have to go ahead and announce Robert's pick. I guess the kitchen got a little too hot. So he has Terrace Marshall Jr. Wow, Terrace Marshall Jr. He has certainly jumped up really high. I mean, first round. I mean, when he played for LSU, he did some great things, even without Joe Burrow and Joe Brady, right? The offensive coordinator. Does anybody want to throw in any little tidbit there before we get off?
Man, I love Terrace Marshall. This guy I actually have gone to Baltimore in my mock draft. I really think that, I think we've spoken about this before, but he is a phenomenal body type. He's got great jump abilities, great possession catch kind of guy, a real red zone threat, as he's proven with the, touchdowns aplenty. I've heard a few guys talking to him about, a ceiling somewhere around a Michael Thomas as well. I don't know that I fully see that he is the same kind of athlete that Michael Thomas is, that same kind of hand size and strength. But the guy's a baller, man. He's a phenomenal receiving talent. And I think that Kansas City, this might be a best player available. I think they've got some other needs they could probably go for, but he's an absolute stud.
Yeah. Walt, what do you think? I mean, is there anything? Do you think adding a wide receiver, or do you think beefing up that offensive line?
I would prefer probably beefing up that offensive line.
Well, yeah,
Honestly.
you got some impending free agency. I think that it's time that you invest in it. But I mean, this would be totally luxury pick. So
Absolutely.
Robert, try checking back in. But definitely thank you all for tuning in. Of course, to see the entire mock draft that Robert Brown put together, of course, we visit our website. We appreciate it. Tune in next week. We're gonna have some more scouts from the East West Football Network join in, and I think we're gonna have a little twist, right? I think we're gonna probably deep.
Yeah, so we've got Parker Hall, who's going to be joining us. He's been part of our college football team and one of our scouting guys for, I believe it was the Mountain West Conference. So he's going to come on and join us on Tuesday of next week. And we've got Clayton Hoffard, who is going to join us on Thursday of next week. But we're going to start going into the second round of the draft. We're going to get those guys to release a 2-round mock draft onto the website. And we're going to start talking about some of these guys because as we talk a lot about, our second round is going to be deep this year. There's a lot of guys who are, dropping. People like Paulson Adebo were rated top 10, and all of a sudden people are talking about them in the second and third. So love to start talking about some of those guys, some of the picks for teams that didn't have a first round, like the LA Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Houston Texans. So start showing them a bit of love.
Yeah. So tune in, guys. Stay tuned. Let's see how your teams can improve. And like I said, a lot of things are going to be settled in, especially after this weekend's